So the idea is to ignore the fluff, stay focused, work out, have good conversation with smart people, with people more advanced than you, and try to give back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Build Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. We believe that the key to scaling and compounding your wealth in life starts every single day with the mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. My name is Brett Swartz. Each and every episode, we focus on having some of the best guests on entrepreneurship and the millionaires and billionaires, and they're going to give us some good secrets today. In fact, each and every time we tend to have some just amazing guests, and I'm excited about our next guest. He is focused on U.S. business funding, a trusted partner in securing the best financing solutions for your business. He's known as the financing guy, business mentor, really making finance easy for small businesses and guiding you and I to the right capital and seeing our business grow. Please welcome to the show with me, George Otel. George, how we doing?
Doing all right, Brett? Thanks for having me. I'm always excited about the small business and entrepreneurs topics. It's not my business, not my job. It's my lifestyle. I own multiple companies. Some happen to succeed, some not, but I got the good lessons. And as we moving through uncertain times, it's a lot of opportunity for smart business owners to take advantage of the new growth cycle, which is happening.
Let's
It's
talk about that right now. What's going on? What's the status of U.S. Business loans and lending, and walk us through what's the current conditions.
Yeah, so it's a lot of uncertainty, but I'm listening to my banks, to my lending sources. We have over 1,000 lending sources, and I'm on webinars with them on a weekly basis. And interestingly enough, they cautious, but they're not scared. So if the money not scared, then why should I? Basically, banks are lending, lenders are lending. It's the question is: are you the qualified buyer? Do you have the right plan? Are you the right sponsor? You have the right plan to qualify for the funding? Because
Let's
funding
start
is
with that
happening.
right now. What makes a business qualified? Walk us through that.
It all depends. So you have 2 years in business. How much funding have you done in the last 6 to 12 months? And how are you looking to grow? It's a lot of uncertainty still, but there is a still gap that is banks looking to cover. So obviously, the strong clients gonna get more funds, and there is the banks are still positive looking for someone that is doing things right. Because if you're still holding, you still have some cash and cash flow going right, most likely the bank's gonna bet on you because obviously you know what you're doing, and it seems like you've done your homework, and most likely you're gonna succeed because the next trend is starting right now. I mean, today we got this news, and things are happening. I've been positive for the last couple of weeks, and now I'm more excited.
Talk about what happened today.
Basically, China and United States, they come to an agreement. There's gonna be a pause on the tariffs. So I'm working with a lot of transportation companies, and it's been like this, like what's gonna happen, what's going on. Now, basically, it's gonna be a boom in request for capacity for trucks, for transportation, warehouse. Everybody's gonna try to get all the orders to basically fill up the warehouses and make sure they price in what's going on.
Good. Okay, so it's not like it's obviously a big win here. The tariffs are paying off, and so for as far as interest rates, as far as lending, as far as bank confidence, right? Because I think a lot of us has to do with bank confidence too, right? To be able to lend the money. Walk us through what you think this means for the small business owner.
So the banks, the depository, the banks, they basically not into this uh, like risk on mode. Basically, we've got a couple of requests that some line of credits they've been canceled. So We work with some private lenders, which they are more aggressive. Basically, you pay a smaller premium, but you get access to funding rather than just relying on your local bank or your depository bank. Because basically, when you're doing good, the bank is your best friend. But in the current situation, banks are risk reverse and they're not your best friend. So we have other options like private money, family offices, and other asset-based lenders that willing to help you if you call me to guide you how to do that.
Okay. All right. What kind of rates are you seeing right now? What kind of terms? Let's say the business is succeeding, right? They're $1 million plus revenue, recurring, and they're healthy and no real debt. What kind of on average type of financing is available?
Okay, so at US Business Funding, we do equipment financing. So equipment financing is based on what type of equipment, and obviously you have the time in business, so it's gonna be the lowest, low. I mean, single digit, low teens. Then real estate. We've done a lot of commercial real estate recently. We see a lot of cash out. So the cash out is gonna be around 7.5 and higher, and that's for the commercial real estate acquisition as well. It all depends on the scenario because we operate nationwide and we have multiple lending sources. But kind of the rates are still staying because it's the risk of inflation. That's why it's kind of in the middle. And for working capital, we use lines of credit and SBA. SBA is at around 10, under 10, just a little bit for cash loans.
Okay. Okay. So, and then what's the term though? How long?
For SBA, it's 10 years. Then we have lines of credit. It's 12 months or 18 months. It's revolving line of credit. Then,
So pause on that. Let's talk on that. Okay. So revolving lines of credit, it's adjustable. Yeah.
yeah, some are fixed, some adjustable and revolving, which means I tell the clients, you better get this line of credit and you don't pay if you don't use it. You only use, I mean, you only pay when you use the line of credit. So
Okay, let's walk through that. Let's walk through that. So, how much do you think? And then if they use it, what's the fees? What's the interest?
So it's based on the revenue. Let's say if you're making $1 million, it's gonna be around like 5 to 700,000.
Okay.
It depends on industry and how much assets also you have. A lot
Okay.
of them are unsecured. It's just the lean on the company, and basically also for how long you're gonna use it. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Let's say if you use it for 30 days, it's obviously it's under 2%, and if you go higher, it goes based on the time you're gonna use time
Okay.
use
Let's
of
say it's
money.
24 months, 500,000. Right. What kind of interest rate? What kind of fees?
So interest rate is starting 10 plus, and it's gonna be some underwriting fee, and it's all based on the industry because it's broad. It's all broad. Let's say
Let's say it's a service-based industry or a real estate company. Like what kind of fee is that involved with the 10% plus interest
uh,
rate?
it's kind of 2% to us, and then it all
2%.
depends on the
Two
on.
percent.
Basically,
Okay.
we do some pre-qualification underwriting. We introduce you to the lender, and
Yeah.
we lined up a couple lenders to make sure
Okay.
we.
All right. So it's about 2% of the 500,000, right? Or about $10,000, right?
Yep. For
And then
for SBA, we don't charge. We just basically process and we getting paid by the bank. So SBA is the cheapest, and it goes
yeah.
for 10 years amortization.
Okay, SBA is a 10-year amortization, but is it a credit line or just a loan?
It's a loan. You get a cash
Okay.
loan.
Okay, that's a loan. Is that fixed or adjustable?
It's some of fixed, mostly adjustable.
Okay. What are those running right now?
The rates,
Yeah.
10, around 10.
Okay, it's also 10%. All right.
975, 1050. That's
Okay, so let's
basically
call it
based on
10, and it's a 10-year note, 10-year AM,
no
T,
prepayment penalty.
no prepay.
Yep.
No,
Most of the clients they pay it off in 4 or 5 years.
yeah, no prepay, 10-year amortization, adjustable, and that's it. It's
Yep.
just pretty straightforward, and no fees.
No, we don't charge fees.
Okay. How
It
quickly can you close those loans?
so it it was around like 2 3 weeks. Now it just throw 2 more weeks because of the green card, the Homeland
Two,
Security.
3 weeks. All right, that's good. This is I appreciate the rapid fire here. I think that's really helpful. So you've got if you have $1 million of revenue, depending on the industry, right, it's going to be mixed between a fixed and adjustable rate. You can get a revolving line of credit. If you get the revolving line of credit, it's about a 2% fee on the amount. No prepay, or you can go SBA route, maybe 3 weeks, but it's just a straight loan. They're just going to give
Yep.
you the loan and then pay it back within 10 years. It's fully amortizing in 10 years.
Yeah, and there is no prepayment for SBA, and
No
you
prepay
you
either.
can pay
Yeah.
you can pay it off in 2 3 years, and we know. I mean, once we're going through growing trend, most clients, as I mentioned earlier, they pay it off in 4 or 5 years. So
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Okay, that's neat.
the
We're
hardest,
speaking with George Otel, everybody. George Otel, and you can find him right now by going to usbizfunding.net. That's usbiz funding.net.
also on LinkedIn,
Go ahead.
also on my LinkedIn as well. I'm active. I'm doing content.
Okay, perfect. Find him on LinkedIn. He also does commercial real estate financing. So let's talk about that, George. Not just businesses, but
Yep,
commercial real
yep.
estate.
This is the hardest things. I have a conversation with one of my lenders a couple days ago, and I asked, "Hey, give me the drill. What's going on?" He's like, "Hey, George, small business they gotta focus on buying their own commercial real estate. We had a recent deal. Somebody was paying $10,000 for rent for the building. We got them an SBA loan with 10% down payment, and the mortgage is 9,000." So you're paying less. You're paying less owning the building than you pay for the rent. Because when you pay the rent, basically you pay for the mortgage and the landlord's
Yeah.
vacation or retirement, whatever you call it. Because nobody takes money out of pocket to pay for the
Yeah, it makes
mortgage.
sense. So yeah, might as well if you can make it make sense to buy the building with SBA financing with lower down. Yeah, okay. So that makes sense. So you do a lot of owner user
Yep,
stuff.
yep. At least 50% occupied, and then the
Yeah,
rest you
or more
can.
by your building by you as the tenant of your business, right? Then you could apply. Was that like 10% down still?
Yeah, it's 10%. We also have the 100% financing. Let's say if you rent it for at least 12 months, then you qualify for 100% financing. So if you
Okay.
renting, just call me and we go through the scenarios, what's going on, and a lot of situation. I have a couple of clients recently. They hear me right?
Yeah, I hear you. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I have a couple of clients recently. They went to their local bank. They came to me very frustrated. So after 30 days going back and forth, they have a couple $100,000 in the bank, and they got declined for buying a couple $1 million building. They come to us. I got them pre-qualified with SBA in 36 hours, and we moving along. We should get that funding anytime. And it's I tell clients, call me. I'm not gonna charge you. I'm gonna look for option. I'm gonna provide you the option, and you decide. But in 5 years or 10 years, you're gonna still pay rent, or you're gonna build wealth where you can leave it to your kids, or just sell the building.
Okay. Excellent. Um, Man, what else about what you do that I haven't asked yet that you want to really share?
Yeah, we bullish on industrial commercial real estate. It's gonna boom. A lot of manufacturing gonna happen, and now is the time to buy. If you were thinking, questioning, I mean, if you have like 10-year goal, I mean, there's a high probability that the commercial real estate is gonna go higher, and now is the best chance to buy it still at the discount. And if, as I mentioned, if you renting, why rent? Because you can pay for your own building to build some equity for long term. This is your pension plan. This is your pension plan. A big portion of your rent goes in your pocket, in a future pocket.
Perfect. All right. Excellent. Well, let's move to the lightning round. George, you ready?
Yep.
All right. What would you say is the biggest frustration when it comes to the 1031 exchange?
Biggest frustration is to find the right property and to line up the right potential, because people don't prepare. They don't prepare, and when you're not prepared, whatever you do, it's gonna build up frustration.
What about the 1031 exchange not working for business sales or stock sales, right? And you might have a business owner that you know who's selling a business and they can't 1031 exchange it, George.
Yeah, so that's why we suggest to do the seller finance. So seller finance is not considered as a tax gain; it's just considered as a loan. So it's
But wait, let's walk through that for a second, right? So when you do that, though, you're financing the buyer, and all of your capital is locked up, and you can't do your next business venture. You can't diversify, and you might have to foreclose on the business a couple years later. So we call that the old blockbuster. I'm kind of setting you up, George. Let me tell you about something. Okay, you ready?
okay. Yeah, sure.
So we use an installment sale with the trust that allows you to defer the capital gains taxes, but you don't have to finance the buyer. So I'll give you an example. We just did an automotive business sale up in Massachusetts. It was an $8 million exit, and the sellers had zero basis, all gain. They're going to pay about $2.5 million of tax. Instead of financing the buyer, we had the buyer come with all cash. And we did a double close, and this trust received the capital. It issued a promissory note back to the seller, and the buyer bought it from the trust, and so the trust is got a new basis,
Wow.
8 million. Okay,
There we go.
and the buyer got title. They're gone. By the way, the buyer probably got better financing with SBA, right? They could put 10% down. They didn't have to come with 20 or 30 or 50% down. So although you could probably do a combo, right, deal with SBA, but the point is, we're not asking for the seller to finance the buyer, because here's the reality. Most sellers are selling to be diversified, to be retired. They don't want to have to take the property or the business back a couple of years later. And so once these funds, George, hit the account, guess what they can do? They can lend to other businesses.
Wow, interesting strategy. I'll get back to you after this call.
Yeah. If people want to learn more about it, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We've built a company around this. We actually wrote a book too called Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. And it's a proven playbook for exiting really any asset of any kind, deferring all of the capital gains taxes, and then diversifying the wealth. We have Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book. If you want to learn more, pick up the book, Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan, or just go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. It's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. But so, George, we found too many people just would get clobbered by this 1031 exchange. I was at Marcus and Millichap, and we're going, this doesn't make any sense, And then they took away the 1031 to do business exits, and we're like, that makes less sense. And so now we do it across every city. We do it across all of the country, any asset type you could imagine. We do it with Bitcoin, of course, business sales, commercial real estate. It can even save a failed 1031 exchange. Okay, so we call it the best kept secret that you haven't heard of before. And so most people get it confused with the Delaware Statutory Trust, but it's an installment sale with the trust. Okay, so any last thoughts on that?
Wow. Yeah. So as you start talking about this, I have a couple important pictures on my desktop, and I'm gonna read it to you. 12 million baby boomers with a business worth of 10 trillion will transition over the next 10 years. So you gotta buy the book and start preparing, because I tell people it's gonna be the biggest wealth transfer in our lifetime. I'm 34, so it's gonna be the biggest transfer. Now I gotta take care of the.
Spot on. In fact, we estimate, some estimates are 84 to 100 trillion. It's even bigger than some of the other estimates, right? 84 to 100 from the baby boomers to the millennials in the next 15 years, actually, about 15 years left. And so we've got to get the message out, because otherwise people won't sell, or they'll sell and they'll pay all this tax, and they really want truly passive income. They want diversification. Again, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. All right, next question. What are you most curious about right now?
I'm curious when we're gonna see distressed property from the bank, so we can acquire them. Commercial.
Yeah, I hear you. Great question. Great question.
We created a database of the banks that they loan to certain commercial real estate, and we target that, and we working on building up the whole funnel. It's gonna take a couple of months, but it's once the sale is gonna start, because banks they sell now through other banks. We still see something in our chats, but we expect something more towards the beginning of the year. So that's the most exciting thing I'm working on. I'm working on things that's gonna happen in 12 months from now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Next question. Number one way you're using Chat GPT?
Yeah, very amazing. I have over 30 or 40 kind of GPTs that helping me on a daily basis. Some of them doing, I mean, basic legal stuff. Some of them with the copywriting. Some of them with brainstorming. And I tell people, you gotta learn it. And what I also tell people, my GPT is smarter than your GPT because I load it with data and it knows me, and I ask question based on what you know about me, what are my blinding spots and what should I focus on, and it's your extension. You gotta work on that. It's why not? Before we hiring someone like a consultant, I asked myself, hey, let me see, let me give it a shot. So basically, if every 80% of the task is done, we're still gonna hire, but we're gonna hire someone that we're gonna pay less, or it's useful, and it's, I don't know. This is it's your extension. It's you.
I couldn't agree more. It helps to
My
leverage
kid,
your,
my kid,
yeah.
she's 8 years and she's using that. She has her file in my GPTs, and we talking about that and just expanding.
It's powerful. Yeah, I agree with you. Last question, and then we'll let you go, George. After all your success helping all the people you help, how do you best stay centered in your values and practice a stewardship over ownership mindset?
So the idea is to ignore the fluff, stay focused, work out, have good conversation with the smart people, with people more advanced than you, and try to give back, and block social media. I have 15 minutes on my all social medias. Obviously, I'm more on LinkedIn because I do for work, but it's good. And do some reading books. It's good because basically most successful people, they give you something, some knowledge that it's really worth it. And
Awesome.
go
Yeah.
to buy your book because look, it's I've been doing this for over 7 years with business funding, and this is something that I want to get into because, as I mentioned, a lot of transaction gonna happen, and the
Mhm.
question is, are you gonna be part of the transaction, or are you gonna say everything is bad? Because
Yep.
by learning your strategies in the book, I don't know what was that, but what I know, by learning that, I'm gonna provide some value to the marketplace, and just go and say, hey, have you ever tried to do this? They don't know, but you just go read the book and gonna have another tool in your tool belt to sell, and
You
that can
nailed
be
it.
5, 10, $15,000 conversations.
Yep, you nailed it, George. Hey, I want to thank you for being on the show, sharing your wisdom with us, and helping us get some clarity on business financing and what's going on in the marketplace. So, thank you for being on the show. Again, everybody, if you want to get in touch with George, just go to usbizfunding.net. That's usbizfunding.net. And I also want to thank all of our listeners for listening to another episode of the Build It to Billions podcast, also streaming on Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast and YouTube channels. Hey, we're here to scale and help you scale and build your business from millions to billions so you can give more all of it away to help MVPs make a bigger impact in this world. It starts every single day with the mindset practice of stewardship over ownership, and we're on that journey with you. This is why we're bringing on folks like George, especially if we need some small business funding to level up or SBA financing. Find George, and then of course, if you are George Otel, by the way, OTLEL, and then if you're looking for a big exit, if you're having a big exit with some huge capital gains taxes, please reach out to us. We'd love to be a resource for you to explore your options to defer capital gains taxes. Just go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. I'm Brett Swartz. Everybody, appreciate everyone listening and watching out there, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye now.